For decades, hospitals have reinforced a nothing by mouth policy. No food and drink once you're admitted. Where did that even come from? Well, we can trace it back to the 1940s. Many women, even for vaginal births, were heavily sedated with something called twilight sleep, or even made unconscious with ether or chloroform. Doctors noticed a rare but serious complication called aspiration, which is when you vomit up stomach content and then inhale it into your lungs. That can lead to infection or breathing problems. Out of tens of thousands of births studied in the 1930s and 1940s, a small handful experienced aspiration, and 2 tragically died. So in 1946, Dr. Curtis Mendelson published a study on aspiration risks. He recommended IV fluids only for women in labor. Hospitals adopted that rule, and in some hospitals, it's become the standard even to this day. But here's what we now know. Fasting does not guarantee an empty stomach. Labor slows digestion. Even if you haven't eaten in 8, 12, 24 hours, you probably still have contents in your stomach. And aspiration can occur even if you do have an empty stomach. You'll just be vomiting up and inhaling stomach fluids. So withholding food and water does not eliminate the risk. What has actually lowered aspiration deaths today are modern anesthesia practices, using regional anesthesia like epidurals and spinals instead of general anesthesia, and protecting airways with better tools when general anesthesia is actually needed. Because of these changes, aspiration deaths in childbirth are now extremely rare. Less than 1 in a million. Modern studies consistently show that eating and drinking is safe for most moms. You might want to take some extra precautions if you have diabetes. In the UK, when they changed guidelines in 2007 to encourage moms to have food and drink during labor, aspiration events were still found to be vanishingly rare, just a handful in millions of births. And they're almost always linked to anesthesia mistakes, not consuming food and water. Today, organizations like the World Health Organization, the American College of Nurse Midwives, and the Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of Canada all recommend that low-risk moms be able to eat and drink during labor. Even the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists and the American Society of Anesthesiologists, who are more cautious, recommend clear liquids. Neither supports restricting mom to ice chips and IV fluids. The bottom line is that the no eating and drinking rule is outdated. It's not evidence-based, and unfortunately, many hospitals still enforce it. Here's what often gets left out of the conversation. There are risks to not having food and water during labor. It's like running a marathon, except this marathon might last through the day and through the night several times. Just like no runner would dream of running around the clock with no fuel, your body can't keep working at its best if it's running on empty. Your blood sugar drops, your muscles lose stamina, and you might feel very shaky and weak, unable to support yourself, or even confused at a moment when you need a lot of clarity. IV fluids don't solve that. They do hydrate, but they don't give you necessary calories or electrolytes, or the steady energy that your body and your brain need. In fact, IV fluids alone can often cause problems like swelling or slowed labor. I know firsthand how much this matters. The times when I was not allowed to eat or drink, I ended up at transition feeling super exhausted, barely even able to lift my arm to pick up the juice that was finally offered to me. I was drained and shaky, and I didn't even have the strength to communicate my needs at that moment. But when I fueled myself with a good breakfast and lunch, having snacks frequently throughout my labor, and taking sips of water and juice, I stayed present and powerful throughout my entire birth experience. The difference was night and day. Every marathon runner has a fueling plan. Small, easy-to-digest carbs, like honey sticks or energy gels every 30 to 40 minutes, along with steady sips of electrolyte-rich drinks. Now for you, you're not actually running, so your options are a little more wide. It's not about stuffing yourself, it's about keeping a steady stream of energy and hydration so that your muscles can work well and that your mind stays clear. Carbohydrates are your body's favorite source of fuel, just like in endurance sports. That means foods that are light and easy to digest, such as pancakes, toast, a sandwich, a bagel, or crackers, bananas, dates, applesauce pouches, yogurt, honey sticks, or a spoonful of jam. Other easy-to-eat foods that give you a source of protein could include yogurt, scrambled eggs, hard-boiled eggs, nut butter, trail mix. And don't forget electrolytes. These are sodium and other minerals that your body needs for your muscles to keep working. So include electrolyte drinks, coconut water, or even a pinch of salt in your water. That helps your body absorb fluids better and avoid that shaky feeling. The key is to not wait until you're exhausted to start fueling. Just like runners will start to fuel within a half hour of the start of the race, you want to sip and nibble throughout labor starting from early on. Now, what if your hospital has strict rules? You don't want to make it into a fight. If someone says only ice chips, you can say, okay, thank you, and then quietly sip and snack. Keep it discreet and simple. Remember, this is your labor, and you are ultimately the only person responsible for whether or not you're going to feel drained or nourished for the most physically demanding event of your life. You're not being disrespectful, you're simply taking your care into your own hands in a way that is evidence-based. So here's the bottom line. Eating and drinking is safe for most moms during labor, and it makes a huge difference in how strong and supported you're going to feel. Labor is hard work. It's beautiful work, and your body needs the fuel to do what it was designed to do. So don't let outdated policies convince you to go into labor running on empty. Trust your body, trust your gut, bring your fuel, and walk into birth knowing that you have what it takes.